not fish. Have you ever stopped and wondered what lies beneath the endless blue oceans that cover more than 70% of our planet? Not coral reefs, but entire cities. Not shipwrecks. Cities that may have been filled with towering temples, crowded marketplaces, stone roads, and thousands of people living ordinary lives before vanishing forever. Now imagine this. Everything is silent. You are diving thousands of feet below the surface. Your flashlight barely cuts through the darkness. Suddenly, a massive stone staircase appears. Then another. Straight walls. Perfectly shaped pillars. A structure so symmetrical that your mind refuses to believe it could have formed naturally. You move closer. It looks like the entrance to a forgotten civilization. A civilization that should not exist. For centuries, history books have told us that the earliest civilizations appeared around 5,000 years ago in Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Indus Valley. But what if that timeline is incomplete? What if the first great civilization wasn't destroyed by war, or disease, or invasion, but by the ocean itself? Every year, archaeologists discover mysterious underwater ruins scattered across the world. Some are confirmed ancient settlements swallowed by rising seas. Others remain unexplained, fueling one of history's most fascinating debates. Did an advanced coastal civilization exist long before recorded history? Or are we simply seeing nature create shapes that resemble human construction? Today, we are traveling across the globe, exploring sunken cities, mysterious monuments, forgotten legends, and scientific discoveries that continue to challenge our understanding of humanity's past. Some of these places are real. Some are controversial. And some remain among the greatest mysteries on Earth. But by the end of this journey, you may never look at the ocean the same way again. Because beneath those calm waves, history may still be waiting. More than 20,000 years ago, during the last ice age, the world looked completely different. Gigantic ice sheets covered enormous parts of North America, Europe, and Asia. So much water was trapped in ice that sea levels were dramatically lower than they are today. Coastlines stretched for hundreds of kilometers farther than modern maps reveal. Wide plains connected islands that are now separated by deep oceans. Humans followed rivers, hunted animals, built camps, and eventually established permanent settlements near the coast. Then something extraordinary happened. The planet began to warm. The glaciers slowly melted. Year after year. Century after century. The oceans kept rising. Not by a few centimeters, but by more than 100 meters. Imagine living in a coastal village and watching the shoreline move closer every generation. Fields disappear. Roads vanish. Sacred monuments become islands. Eventually, the sea reaches your home. Families leave everything behind, carrying only memories. Within a few centuries, entire communities disappear beneath the water. After thousands of years, coral grows over stone walls. Sand buries streets. Fish swim through abandoned buildings. And humanity forgets they ever existed. This is not mythology. Sea level rise after the Ice Age is a well-established scientific fact. The question is much more intriguing. How many prehistoric settlements disappeared with it? Marine archaeologists estimate that millions of square kilometers of ancient coastline now lie underwater. Yet only a tiny fraction has ever been explored. In many ways, we have mapped the surface of Mars more thoroughly than the bottom of our own oceans. Every unexplored region represents a potential time capsule. Every sonar scan could reveal something unexpected. And sometimes, it does. Off the coast of Greece lies Pavlopetri, one of the world's oldest known submerged cities. Its streets, houses, courtyards, and tombs remain remarkably preserved beneath shallow water. The discovery proved something historians once considered unlikely. Entire cities really can vanish beneath the sea while remaining almost perfectly intact. Thousands of kilometers away, near Japan's Yonaguni Island, divers discovered enormous stone formations featuring terraces, sharp angles. Others believe at least parts may have been modified by human activity. Decades later, the debate continues. In India, underwater investigations near the legendary city of Dwarka uncovered stone structures, anchors, and artifacts resting beneath the Arabian Sea. Ancient texts describe Dwarka as a magnificent city consumed by the ocean. Whether the archaeological discoveries correspond directly to those legends remains uncertain, but they continue to inspire new research and public fascination. Then there is the Gulf of Cambay. Using sonar technology, researchers identified unusual geometric patterns beneath layers of sediment. Initial reports suggested the possibility of ancient structures, igniting international excitement. Later analyses questioned those conclusions, arguing that more evidence is required. The mystery remains unresolved. And perhaps that uncertainty is what makes underwater archaeology so captivating. Every discovery exists between evidence and imagination. Between science and legend. Between what we know, and what we have yet to discover. Because somewhere beneath the oceans, hidden under darkness and centuries of sediment, there may still be cities that no human has seen since the end of the Ice Age. Cities whose builders never imagined their homes would become part of the seafloor. Cities whose stories were replaced by myths. And cities that could one day force us to rewrite the history of civilization itself. One of the biggest misconceptions about ancient civilizations is that progress always moves in a straight line. We often imagine history as a ladder. One generation becomes smarter than the last. Technology improves. Cities grow. Empires rise. But history tells a very different story. Civilizations collapse. Knowledge disappears. Entire cultures vanish without leaving more than a few fragments behind. The mighty Roman Empire once controlled millions of people across 3 continents. Today, much of it exists only as ruins. The Maya built magnificent cities hidden deep within the jungles of Central America. For centuries, nature completely swallowed them. If such powerful civilizations could nearly disappear on land, imagine what thousands of years beneath the ocean could erase. This is exactly why underwater archaeology has become one of the most exciting scientific fields of the 21st century. Every expedition begins with a simple question. What if something incredible is waiting below? The process starts far above the water. Research ships slowly move across the ocean, carrying sophisticated sonar systems capable of mapping the seafloor in extraordinary detail. Instead of seeing with light, these instruments use sound. Millions of sound waves travel through the water, bounce off objects below, and return to the ship. Powerful computers transform those echoes into detailed 3-dimensional landscapes. Most of the time, the images reveal ordinary rock formations. Ancient river channels. Sand dunes. Volcanic ridges. But occasionally, something appears that immediately captures everyone's attention. Perfect rectangles. Parallel lines. Circular foundations. Patterns that look almost impossible to create naturally. The moment such an anomaly appears, excitement spreads throughout the research team. Could this be another lost city? Or is nature simply creating an illusion? Only a closer investigation can provide answers. Remotely operated vehicles descend into the darkness. Unlike human divers, these robotic explorers can remain underwater for hours, reaching depths where sunlight never penetrates. Their cameras slowly scan every surface. Every crack. Every stone. Every shadow. Sometimes the mystery disappears immediately. A strange formation turns out to be volcanic basalt fractured into geometric shapes. Other times, the evidence becomes even more compelling. Stone blocks appear carefully stacked. Ancient anchors rest nearby. Pieces of pottery emerge from layers of sediment. Suddenly, speculation transforms into archaeology. One remarkable example comes from the Mediterranean Sea. For thousands of years, merchants sailed these waters, connecting Europe, Asia, and Africa. Storms destroyed countless ships. Earthquakes reshaped entire coastlines. Today, the seabed is covered with the remains of forgotten harbors, temples, warehouses, and settlements. Each discovery provides another glimpse into worlds that vanished long ago. But perhaps the most fascinating question is not where these civilizations disappeared. It is why humans built them along the coast in the first place. The answer is surprisingly simple. Water meant survival. Rivers provided drinking water. The sea offered fish and trade routes. Fertile floodplains produced abundant crops. Nearly every great civilization in history developed close to water. Egypt flourished along the Nile. Mesopotamia grew between the Tigris and Euphrates. The Indus Valley civilization expanded beside powerful rivers. Ancient China developed around the Yellow River. If coastal settlements were always the most attractive places to live, then countless prehistoric communities almost certainly existed where oceans now cover the land. Scientists estimate that during the last ice age, enormous regions now submerged were dry and habitable. The Sunda Shelf connected much of Southeast Asia. Doggerland linked Britain to mainland Europe. Beringia connected Asia and North America. These were not tiny islands. They were vast landscapes filled with forests, rivers, grasslands, and wildlife. People hunted there, traveled there, raised families there, and perhaps built villages that have never been discovered. One of the most famous examples is Doggerland. Today it lies beneath the North Sea. Fishermen regularly pull ancient bones, stone tools, and even preserved tree trunks from its depths. Modern mapping reveals hills, valleys, lakes, and river systems that once supported thousands of people. It was an entire lost landscape hidden beneath one of the busiest seas on Earth. Unlike mythical Atlantis, Doggerland is scientifically confirmed. Its existence proves that enormous inhabited regions disappeared beneath rising waters after the Ice Age. That realization changes everything. Instead of asking whether ancient underwater civilizations could exist, researchers now ask how many have yet to be found. Technology is rapidly expanding those possibilities. Artificial intelligence now analyzes sonar images far faster than human researchers. Machine learning algorithms identify patterns invisible to the naked eye. Autonomous submarines can explore dangerous depths without risking human lives. Satellite observations reveal subtle changes in underwater topography. Every advancement increases the chances of discovering another forgotten chapter of human history. Yet science also demands caution. Not every mysterious structure is evidence of a lost civilization. Nature is capable of creating astonishing symmetry. Hexagonal basalt columns. Perfect crystal formations. Geometric rock fractures. What appears artificial at first glance may have formed naturally over millions of years. This balance between imagination and evidence is what makes archaeology so compelling. Researchers must remain skeptical while staying open to extraordinary possibilities. Every claim requires proof. Every discovery must survive rigorous examination. And every mystery deserves careful investigation rather than sensational conclusions. Still, there is something profoundly moving about the idea that beneath the waves lie places where children once played, families gathered, merchants traded, and civilizations dreamed of the future without knowing their world would one day disappear forever. The ocean did not simply hide their cities. It preserved their silence. For thousands of years, tides passed over forgotten streets. Corals slowly covered monuments. Fish swam through abandoned homes. Generations of humanity lived and died above them, completely unaware that another chapter of history rested only a few hundred meters below. And perhaps, somewhere in that endless darkness, there is still an untouched city waiting for its first visitor in 10,000 years. A place where every stone remains exactly where its builders left it. A discovery capable of changing archaeology forever. Because history is not a finished story. It is an unfinished puzzle. And some of its most important pieces may still be resting beneath the world's oceans, waiting for the moment when curiosity finally reaches the bottom.